Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 23, and today is a very special video because we are finally ranking the top 6 motorcycles within the MotoGP class within MotoGP 23. Now this decision has not come easy. It's taken me a lot of time to actually really come to the decision here, and I've got to say, not one of the bikes in this game are technically bad. So this is a very difficult list. Everything is so marginal, but let's see how the list goes. So, coming in at number 6, at the bottom of the list, I have had to put the most beloved bike in the world for me. I always love them at Yamahas, but unfortunately, in MotoGP 23, I find, although stunning to look at, the Yamaha is not my friend when it comes to MotoGP 23. I have done time trials, I've done live GPs, I did the Ace Academy Cup in the most recent cup we've done, and I always found a few little bit of gripes and groans with the Yamaha. Compared to other motorcycles, I find the power on the Yamaha just always causes wheelie. Whether I run anti-wheelie 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5, I can never seem to stop the Yamaha from wheeling out of the corners. I've tried going a little bit more gentle on the power, and yet it still wants to lift the front end of the bike up every time. So it's not a bad bike by any way, shape or form, but I just find that that is the point that stops me from really putting the Yamaha further up the list. I enjoy the brakes, I like the fast sweeping nature of the Yamaha YZR M1, but I just can't get past the wheeling. So for me, that's why it's going to have to stay down at the bottom of the pile. I don't think it's unrealistic to say that none of these bikes are bad. I really would use any of the bikes no matter what the situation would be. So even if we were just jumping online for a live GP or a cup, I'd pick any bike. It's not really a problem, but I just probably don't want to use the Yamaha again after how I felt in the cup in the most recent one we did. I just never really found that comfort with the Yamaha, and maybe I need more time, maybe I need a bit longer, but unfortunately for me, I had to put this one with a bit of a sad face actually. I didn't really want to put it at the bottom, but unfortunately for me, there is a Japanese motorcycle at the bottom of the grid, which we're getting rather used to seeing. So across the line, let's conclude our Yamaha at 6. Let's move on to number 5. Now in number 5 is the Repsol Honda, excuse me, any Honda to be quite honest with you. It's the Honda RC213V, and this bike, when I first started the game, was magnificent. I really liked the feeling of the Honda. It's very powerful, a little bit more difficult to turn in, the brakes are quite solid, but ultimately, I actually quite enjoyed it, same as the Yamaha, I really did. It was just as I started using different motorcycles, I found that the others were better, and again, another Japanese motorcycle is at the back of the latter end of the video, or at least the beginning of the video in this case, because we're going from the top to bottom, or the bottom to top, let's say. But yeah, the feeling of the Honda is that it's pretty solid. I actually really like the Honda, and I would probably put it higher. However, my lap times with the Honda are always beaten by a different motorcycle. I would prefer to use the Honda than the Yamaha after testing this out in a little bit more detail. I find the Yamaha is easier to ride, but always having the wheelie problem then makes it just, I'd rather use the Honda because I can get out the corners much quicker, got that speed, it's just difficult to turn in and it's a bit unstable upon the brakes. I would do anything to get rid of wheeling. I just don't enjoy the aspect of lifting the front wheel up and then getting frustrated trying to put the ride height device on to fix it, trying to reduce acceleration, trying to increase the anti-wheelie. It just doesn't seem to materialise for me to put the Yamaha over the Honda due to the wheeling. So looking at the RC213V, I wanted to put it higher, I really did. I originally wanted to put this in the top 3, but after judging what the other bikes are like in this game, yeah, I can't put the Honda any higher than this. It's going to have to stay in 5th place, but nonetheless, that's the top 5 for Honda, and that's more than they can get nowadays, so it's not all that bad in today's DrAce top 6 bikes video here in MotoGP 23. So this is going to conclude our section with the Honda. We'll finish up our lap with Takaki Nakagami. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe if you are enjoying the video, and let's get on to number 4 on today's list. So coming in at number 4 is the KTM RC16. Now I have included the gas with this as well because it is exactly the same motorcycle, it's the same package, it's also the same model. So both RC16s will be in a joint position here in 4th place. Now I will tell you, when I originally made this list a few months ago, I have constantly come back to this video idea to change things around and to decide what I want to use and which order it'll be in. The KTM has gone from 2nd to 3rd to 4th, back up to the podium positions, and now back down to 4th place. I would only say career mode has affected the KTM. Now I loved the KTM in career mode, I really did, but I actually preferred using it in the career mode than I did in time trial and everywhere else, which is a little bit strange. There's nothing really negative to say about the KTM. I really like it. Of course, this is the bike that won the esports championship within the hands of Jackhammer, so it's obviously an excellent motorcycle. It's really easy to use, but I do find the one caveat with the RC16 is that I do feel the front end drops a bit quicker than the other motorcycles. Now, if you've been using the Ducati for a while, or maybe you've been using the Aprilia RSGP or the Honda, you might find that you can last quite a long time on the front brake, mid-corner, trail braking quite late. KTM just tends to wash the front quicker than the others, and I would say I've had more front-end washes on the KTM than I have had with any other motorcycle in the game. But with every other feature of the KTM, it's solid. The acceleration's great. I don't wheelie all that much. The RC16's got an excellent power delivery. It's good on the brakes, really easy to get stopped, but I just have lost the front a few times under trail braking, so it was up there to the top 3, it was right up there in the podium positions, but unfortunately for me, the KTM has dropped to 4th place on today's list. So now we get to the podium positions, and I fear that this one gives away the answer for the next 2 motorcycles, but in 3rd place, podium position, is the Aprilia RSGP. Now again, this is a very marginal difference between the next 2 motorcycles on the list, and I've got to say, regardless of the RSGP, from the factory team to the Cyril Garda Crypto Data RNF team, they're both excellent motorcycles. I did the Assen video where I tried to lap every single one rider with the RNF Aprilia, and I've got to say, it went really well. The bike felt so good, so stable. It's excellent, really, really solid. I think the only one caveat I would say compared to the other bikes on this list is the turning is not quite as easy as the other bikes on the list. It's solid, it really is. But to be honest, everything else is perfect but just the turning. And it's such a marginal difference. It's so difficult to sit here and say, this is the negatives of this bike, because not really many of them have a negative. It's just, how do you quantify and celebrate the fact that each motorcycle is different without really going into the nitty-gritty of what makes each motorcycle that little bit unique? And I would say for the Aprilia, yeah, it's just perfect in every other area but the turning. Brakes, excellent. Acceleration's fantastic. You don't get much wheelie with the RSGP. It's a very solid, well-built, aerodynamically bike, and it's just brilliant. It's a good package. I would highly recommend using the Aprilia for MotoGP 23. But as we transition across to the other to the RSGP, which is still pretty much identical to the factory bike, just a little bit slower on the terms of power delivery, it's also extremely solid. Very solid bike. I like the RSGP. I'm beginning to wonder if it deserves 2nd or 1st. It's so hard, but I don't think it does because of how strong the other 2 motorcycles are on today's list. So coming up as 2nd, it is the Ducati GP22 from the VR46 team and the Grassini team. Now, I really enjoy the Ducatis in this game. I have become a fan since the career mode, and even in our DrAce Academy Cup, where I used the VR46 Ducati, I just felt that this bike felt awesome. Not really much weaknesses. The only difference between the GP22 and 23 is, I would say, everything the GP22 does, the GP23 does a little bit better, but honestly, compared to the other 5 bikes in this game, or the 5 should I say, the Ducati GP22 is ultimately a better package than the others. It's really solid coming out of the corners, controlled fuel delivery, really solid motorcycle, especially on the brakes as well. It's not much different from the GP23, but the thing with the Ducatis, I find that regardless if it's hard on the brakes in mid-corner or if it's hard on straight line braking, it just works ever so well. And I think for me, when I first started playing this game, I still was very much used to MotoGP 22 and I didn't quite adjust well to the Ducati. But now I've played 300 plus hours of MotoGP 23, I've realised that the Ducati actually suits my style better than any other motorcycle in the game. So for my preference of the top 6, I would say that the Ducatis are by far the best bikes in the game. I've acquired my best results in live GPs and even in the DrAce Academy Cups as well with the GP22 and the GP23. So honestly, I do really like this bike. I think it's fantastic. Comparing it to the GP23, there's not much else difference. It's just that it's a little bit better. The only one caveat I would say with the GP22 is it does wheelie every now and again. It just wants to lift up the front wheel, where I find the factory Ducati doesn't really do that. It's really solid, it's really stable, it's got a good base, and it just doesn't really have any weaknesses. As I say, this video has been hard to make because of how difficult and intricate each bike is, and they all have their weaknesses. Well, actually no, they all have their strengths and not many weaknesses is what I mean. So it's been a difficult video to say, but I think we know what the next bike is coming up. I think we've already pretty much discussed it anyway, but we will conclude this lap with Fabio Di Gianantonio, and then we will reveal the grand spectacle of the best motorcycle in MotoGP 23 in Dr. Ace's opinion. So here it is, the Ducati GP23. It should be no surprise to anyone. The factory Ducati from the Pramac team, or even the factory Lenovo Ducati team, they're absolutely magnificent. I think everybody wants to use this bike, regardless of a live GP, a DrAce Academy Cup race, a championship, career mode. We all know it's the best bike in the game. I might be a little bit biased because of career mode recent success, but I do really feel that the Ducati suits me down to the ground. Coming out of those fast corners at the lower gears, it still doesn't want to wheelie. You don't really need to use the ride height device because the bike is just so stable. It's excellent upon the brakes, and it seems every single time I do a time trial with one of the other bikes, maybe one of the Japanese bikes or maybe the KTM or the Aprilia, I can beat it with pretty much much effort by just using a Ducati. Whether it's the factory GP23 or the GP22, it's really solid. So for me, I'm happy to conclude today's video with Yamaha being 6th, Honda in 5th with the RC213V, KTM in 4th, Aprilia RSGP 3rd, and Ducati taking a lockout of the top 2 with the GP22 and the GP23 Ducati. Now guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I certainly hope you enjoyed. We only have one more day to upload a MotoGP 23 video, and then that is it. It's curtains for the 23rd installment of MotoGP, and we will move on to MotoGP 24. So guys, get subscribed if you're not done so already. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below your opinions and if you'd agree or disagree with my list, and maybe you have a preference of your particular bikes and which ones you prefer over others. Let me know your list. I'm really curious to see what you guys think. I've done around 300 hours. I've played a lot of motorcycles and I've done a lot of races. So I would say I am quite happy with my choice of list. But guys, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video today. I'll see you tomorrow for another MotoGP video. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.